The auction. No one dared. The lights in the alien marketplace were bright, sharp, and cold. Thousands of creatures gathered in the grand auction hall. Voices echoed in strange languages. The air was full of noise, heat, and danger. At the center of the stage, inside a large energy cage, stood the wild alien girl. She looked about 17 in human years. But her glowing blue eyes, her sharp claws, and the strange tattoos on her arms showed she was not human. Not even close. She was barefoot. Her hair was wild. She wore chains on her wrists and ankles, glowing chains made from some kind of alien tech. Her body had scars, fresh and old. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just stood still, silent, watching the crowd with cold, burning eyes. The auctioneer, a tall creature with 4 arms and silver skin, stepped forward. "Ladies and gentlemen," he shouted in Galactic Common, "we present a once-in-a-lifetime item. A weapon, a warrior, a killer, the last of her kind." Gasps came from the crowd. "She destroyed a full mercenary squad with no weapons," the auctioneer continued. "She's part biological experiment, part ancient tech, a perfect killing machine. And now she can be yours." A screen lit up behind him. It showed a video, soldiers shooting, screaming, then silence. The girl standing alone, surrounded by bodies. Murmurs filled the air. Some aliens looked scared. Others looked curious. Some stepped back. "No one has tamed her," said the auctioneer. "She has broken 5 cages. She bit off a buyer's hand last week." The crowd laughed nervously. "Starting bid, 10,000 solar credits." Silence. The auctioneer smiled wider, showing his sharp teeth. 20,000? Still no one moved. 50? A fat alien in a golden robe whispered to his guard, then shook his head. No one? The auctioneer said, "She's dangerous, yes? But think of the power, the control, the fear she can bring to your enemies." Silence. "She's a monster," someone muttered. "She's cursed," said another. The girl's eyes moved slowly. She stared at the crowd, one face at a time, cold, deadly, silent. No one dared step forward. Just then, the crowd shifted. A human walked in. Alone. He looked ordinary. Dirty boots, dusty coat, scar across his left cheek. Maybe 35 years? Old. No guards, no weapons. The crowd stared. A human here. He walked straight toward the auction block. The auctioneer paused. "You wish to place a bid, human?" The man nodded once. "I'll buy her." Laughter exploded in the hall. "She kill you in 5 minutes." Someone shouted, "She kills for fun." Another yelled. The man didn't smile. He looked up at the girl in the cage. Their eyes met. Her eyes narrowed. "I said I'll buy her," the man repeated. The auctioneer smirked. "And what do you offer, human?" The man reached into his coat and dropped a small cube onto the floor. It glowed softly. The crowd leaned in. "A full access Earth Alliance key," the auctioneer whispered, stunned. That's your home pass. Everything you own is linked to this." "I know," the man said. "You'll be marked a nomad." "A nobody." "I know," he said again. The auctioneer's voice shook. "Are you sure?" The man looked up at the girl again. She tilted her head slightly, like a wild animal trying to understand. "I'm sure." The auctioneer hesitated. Then he raised his hand. "Sold. To the crazy human with no sense of survival." Laughter again. The cage powered down. The chains stayed on. Guards moved in, ready to stop her if she attacked. She didn't move. She looked at the human. Her glowing eyes studied him. Then she smiled. Just a little. Just enough. The human stepped forward. He looked up at her. "I don't own you," he said quietly. "You're free." Her smile vanished. "What?" she said, her voice dry like old paper. "You're free," he repeated. "I just didn't want them to have you." The room was silent now. No one spoke. The girl blinked slowly. "Why?" she asked. The man shrugged. "I've seen monsters." "You're not one." He turned and started to walk away. Behind him, the girl stepped down from the platform. The guards tensed, but she ignored them. Her chains fell to the ground, unlocked by some unseen code. She followed the human. And the crowd? They only watched, afraid, confused. Because no one had dared to buy the wild alien girl, except one man. And now, No one knew what would happen next, a desert wind whispered across the steel bones of the broken planet. Far from the marketplace, far from the crowd, two shadows walked through the ruins. One was tall, silent, and human. The other, smaller, barefoot, and not human at all, followed without chains, but with eyes that still burned. No one dared to follow them. They reached an old, rusted outpost, half buried under sand. The doors creaked open with a hiss. Inside, darkness, dust, silence. The man didn't speak. He tapped a panel. Lights flickered to life. The girl stepped inside slowly, her glowing eyes scanning everything. There were number guards, no cages, just a room full of old tech, broken chairs, and quiet air. She looked at him. What is this place? A safe place, the man said. The door closed behind them with a deep click. She turned sharply. You locked it. I did. Silence. Her claws twitched. So this is your trap? The man didn't react. He walked to a table and set down a black case. Opened it. Inside, food, clean water, and a thin blanket. She stared at it. Then at him. What do you want from me? He looked at her calmly. Nothing. No one gives nothing, she said. Her voice was like a blade. I didn't buy you, he said. I bought your choice, she frowned. That's a trick. Choice is fake. He sat down. Maybe, but it's yours now. She didn't sit. She circled slowly like a predator, studying prey. Then her voice dropped. You're hiding something. He didn't deny it. She walked closer. Her claws gleamed under the low light. You're not a soldier. No, you're not rich. No, then why give everything? For me? The man looked down at his hands. They were calloused, scarred, tired. He reached into his coat and took out a thin, cracked photo. He held it up. It showed a little girl, smiling, human, standing under two suns, holding a blue flower. She was my daughter. The alien girl paused. Her eyes flicked to the photo. She died, the man said. Because someone like you destroyed our colony? No reason, no warning. Her voice was, quiet now, and you want revenge? No, he said. I want understanding. Silence again. She looked at the photo, then back at him. I wasn't there. I know. I don't care about your daughter. I know that too. Then why save me? He met her eyes. Because when I looked at you, I didn't see a monster. I saw someone who was also used. Also broken. Also left behind. Her jaw tightened. I don't want a weapon, he said. I want the truth. Now she stepped back. Something in his words had hit her. You think I know the truth? I think you are the truth, he said. She looked away. He stood and walked to a dusty control panel, pressed a button. A map flickered on the wall, glowing with red zones, marked targets and strange alien letters. This is the lab, he said, where you were made. Where more like you are being made again. Her eyes widened. Just a little. You know this place? I escaped from there, she whispered. They're still building weapons like you, he said. And worse. She turned slowly. Why show me this? Because I can't stop them alone, but you might. She didn't answer. He stepped closer. His voice was low, steady. You don't owe me anything. You can leave. No one will stop you, but if you stay, we fight back. She looked at him for a long moment, then she smiled, not like before. This time it was colder, stronger. You saved a wild animal, she said. Now you wanted to bite the ones who trained it? Yes, I bite hard. He nodded. I know. Then she stepped forward, closer, almost face to face. If I help you, she said, you will owe me something. What? My story? Not just your daughter's. Deal, he said. Outside, the desert wind blew harder. Dust covered the stars. And far away, something in the dark sky moved. A silent ship watching. The girl looked up. They'll come for me, she said. I know. They'll kill us both. He smiled slightly. They can try? Inside the broken outpost, a deal was made, not in gold, not in chains, but in broken memories and burning eyes. The wild alien girl had been bought with everything. Now, she would give something back, not mercy, but war. The night was too quiet. The old outpost slept under layers of dust, long forgotten by the galaxy. Inside, the wild alien girl sat cross-legged on the floor, eating something soft and warm, real food, not lab protein. It confused her. The human sat across from her, fixing a broken data tablet. A dim yellow light buzzed overhead. She stared at him. "You don't ask questions." He didn't look up. "You don't give answers." A pause. She tilted her head. "You're not afraid of me?" "No. Why?" He looked at her now, his voice low. "Because I've already lost everything." She didn't speak for a moment, then softly, "Sometimes people lose more than they know." He nodded. "Exactly." She looked away. Later, while he slept, she moved, silently, like wind. She searched the room. She didn't trust him, not fully. She never trusted anyone. She found a locked box under the floor, with a quiet tap of her claws. It clicked open. Inside were old things, a metal badge, Earth currency, a small hologram device, and a hidden folder marked Classified Alpha. Level. She pressed it. The holo came alive, a projection of a much younger version of the man. He wore a white coat. Earth Alliance Science Division. The voice in the log was clear. Dr. Elias Marr, mission, Project Helix, goal, create adaptive life forms for deep space defense. Her breath caught. Another log started. This time voices were shouting, explosions, panic. "Shut it down." "She's not stable." Then silence. The file stopped. The girl froze. She closed the box, gently. When she turned around, he was standing there, watching. She didn't flinch. "So, you weren't a soldier?" "No," he said. "You made us." He nodded once. "I helped start it." Her claws curled. "You lied." "I said I wasn't one of them anymore," he said. "I walked away." "You created monsters?" "I know. You created me." "No," he said firmly. "I helped create the system." "I didn't make you. I didn't know you." She stared at him, eyes glowing, jaw tight. She wanted to kill him, tear him apart. But something inside her stopped. "Why did you leave?" she asked. "I saw what they did to the first generation." He said, "Children with no names, burned nerves, mechanical implants." "They didn't even scream after a while." Her voice dropped. "I screamed." He looked away. "I know." She stepped closer. "Why not stay and fight then? Why run?" He answered after a long silence. "Because I was a coward." That made her blink. "No lies. No excuses. Just truth." Later they stood outside. The wind was soft now. 2 moons above them. She spoke without looking at him. "They used me to test fear response in soldiers. Locked me in rooms with people. Made bets on who would last longer." He closed his eyes. "They said I was born to break minds." Sorry," he said. She turned toward him. "Are you here to fix what you broke, Doctor?" "No," he said. "I'm here because I failed. But I can still help someone else stop it." She looked at him for a long time, then said, "You're strange." He smiled slightly. "So are you." Inside the outpost, she finally sat down next to him. "What is Project Helix now?" She asked it. He tapped the map. "It evolved. Now it's called Echo Wing Hidden Lab, Deep Space. They're building something big." "What kind of big?" He swallowed. "Planet killer kind? You weren't their final weapon, just a prototype?" She narrowed her eyes. "And you think I can stop them? You're the only one who ever escaped." She didn't answer, then softly, "If we go there, I might not come back." He said nothing. She looked at him. "And you're dying, aren't you?" He didn't answer. She leaned back. "You really did give everything?" "Yes," he said. "For one chance?" She stood up. "Then let's make it count." Outside, in the dark sky, a signal blinked in red dots. Someone had found them. The girl turned her head. "They're coming." Elias stood. "Then we leave now? Where?" she asked. He tapped his wrist. A small ship shimmered into view under the sand, cloaked, silent, waiting. "Someplace they don't expect us to go," she smirked. "Into the lion's mouth?" "Straight through its teeth," he replied. She smiled fully for the first time. "Let's give them something to fear." And so, the human and the wild girl, creator and creation, guilt and rage, left the ruins together, not as enemies, not as friends, but as something new, Something dangerous. She had no name. Names were for citizens. For soldiers, for those who mattered. She had numbers. Serial codes, test batches. Specimen V30. That's what they called her, but deep in her, where the fire lived, she called herself the one who survived. The ship hummed quietly as it slipped. Through black space, cloaked from every scanner, inside, the human slept in the co-pilot's seat, jaw clenched even in dreams. He twitched sometimes, like he was running from something even sleep couldn't escape. The girl didn't sleep. She sat by the engine, watching the glow, listening. Inside the silence of the ship, memories echoed louder than screams. Flash, metal. Floors, a room full of mirrors, needles like knives. Men in white coats whispering, "She doesn't feel pain." Increase voltage? She's not a girl, she's data. She opened her eyes. The hum of the ship felt almost kind now. She stood, walked to the front. He was still asleep, arms crossed, head tilted. She sat beside him and just watched him, a strange human. He didn't flinch when she showed claws, didn't beg when she threatened, didn't want to own her, just understand. It made no sense. She hated it. She hated how it made her remember things she had buried. He stirred, woke, looked at her. "You ever sleep?" he asked. She shook her head. "Not safely." He nodded. "Fair." Silence again. Then, softly, she asked, "Do you want to know how I got out?" He looked at her, serious. "Only if you want to tell me." She turned away, eyes glowing faintly. "I was their favorite. I didn't cry when they burned me. Didn't scream when they shattered my bones and watched them heal." He didn't interrupt. "They made me fight others like me, some younger. Some twisted with machines. They called it training." She paused. "One day, they put a girl in with me. Smaller than me, weak, newborn hybrid, just a child." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They told me to kill her." A long silence. She stared ahead, into the void outside the ship. "I didn't." Elias leaned forward. "What happened?" "I held her," she said quietly, "and told her not to be afraid. And then?" Her eyes narrowed. "They sent in gas, shot me, beat me, said I had failed. Saad, I wasn't pure." She looked at her hand. "The scars were still there. I broke the wall. You escaped?" Elias asked. "I killed everyone in that room," she said, no pride in her voice. "Not out of anger, out of grief." He didn't speak. "I carried the little one with me, but she didn't make it. They had injected her with acid markers." Her body melted in my arms. The ship was silent. "After that," she said, "I didn't run. I hunted. I burned my way through the lower labs, freed others. Most died on the way out. Some turned against me. I didn't care." She looked at Elias now. "I wasn't just made to kill. I was taught to hate. And now?" he asked. "Now I'm trying to remember what kindness feels like." They sat in silence. Then Elias did something strange. He reached out, slowly, and placed his hand over hers. Not strong, not weak, just human. She didn't pull away. "I can't undo what they did to you," he said. "But I can make sure they never do it again." Her eyes softened, just for a second. Then the alarm beeped. They both turned. The ship's system flashed red. "Unregistered life form detected on board." She shot up. "Did someone follow us?" Elias rushed to the control screen. "No, not from outside. It's coming from the cargo bay." They ran. As the doors opened, they froze. Inside, a small, trembling hybrid girl. No more than 8, gray skin, metal collar, scared eyes. The wild alien girl stepped forward slowly. The little hybrid cried out and curled into a ball. Elias stepped back. "Is she?" "She's one of mine," the wild girl whispered. "One of the ones I tried to save." She knelt. The girl looked up, terrified, and then recognition, a small voice. "V13?" She nodded slowly. The child burst into tears, not from fear, but from hope. Elias stepped back, stunned. "They smuggled her on board," the girl said. "Probably programmed to kill, but she didn't. She remembered me." She picked the child up. Held her. She turned to Elias. "They're still making more. Still using children. We're not just stopping a project, Elias. We're ending a cycle." He nodded, his face hardening. "No mercy?" She shook her head. "Only justice." The ship wasn't silent anymore. It groaned, creaked, and rattled, not from damage, but from pressure. Something outside was pulling at it. No, not something. Someone. 3 hours ago, they picked up a strange signal. Faint, repeating, a call. Or a trap. Now they were flying through a stretch of dead space known only as the Black Hollow. No stars, no light. No sound, except for the low hum of fear crawling up their spines. The wild alien girl stood near the child. Hybrid, who hadn't spoken since she appeared. She just sat and held on to the girl's old cloak like a lifeline. Elias sat in the cockpit, reading the incoming data. We've been tagged, passive tracer, extremely high grade. Who found us? The girl asked. He frowned. Not pirates. Not bounty hunters either. She stepped forward. Then who? He looked up. Someone from the original program. Her. Blood went cold. Outside, something shimmered. A ship, long, silent, and dark as void, was trailing them. No lights. No signal, just death. We can't outrun it, Elias said. Then we go through, she said. Through what? She pointed at the cursed map. The maelstrom cloud, static storms, gravitational chaos. No tracking. He raised an eyebrow. You want to fly through a death field? She looked at him. Better than dying quietly, he sighed. Strap in. The cloud swallowed them. Lightning danced through space like angry gods. The ship shook violently. Systems sparked. The child cried out and covered her ears, but the alien girl didn't flinch. This chaos felt familiar. It reminded her of the lab, where every breath felt like a countdown. Then the ship rocked violently. A shadow passed by the window. Something's boarding us, Elias shouted. She ran to the back. How? They're phasing through the hull. She stopped. Phase tech? That's forbiddance. Elias grabbed a weapon. Not to them. The lights flickered, then died. Complete darkness, only sound, a deep metallic thud. And footsteps. She stepped in front of the child. From the shadows emerged a figure, tall, covered in black armor with a mask like a cracked skull. The voice was smooth. Mechanical, V13, you left without permission, she bared her teeth. So did your soul? You were designed to serve, he said. I was designed to burn. She growled. The figure raised his hand, but the girl moved faster. In a blink, she slammed him into the wall. Sparks flew, he laughed. Still angry, still perfect. Then he exploded, not with fire, but light. A decoy, a projection. She gasped. They're not here to capture us, Elias arrived. They're marking our ship, coordinating with others. How many? He checked his scanner, paused. Too many. They made it out of the cloud, barely. The ship smoking, hull scarred, but the map was clear now. In front of them, a hidden moon, forgotten by time. This is where we disappear, Elias said. They landed in a canyon under cover of darkness. The child finally spoke. He knew your voice. The alien girl turned. Who? The masked one, she whispered. He trained us. She froze. Elias stepped forward. What does that mean? It means, the girl said, voice dark. They didn't just come to kill me. They came to bring me back? Later, around a fire made from salvaged fuel cells, Elias opened a secure file on an old drive. He looked at her. V13 was never your full code. She said nothing. He showed the screen. The file read, Unit VALKYRX13, Project Role, Instigator. Capable of rebellion seeding and psychological warfare. He looked at her. You weren't just a weapon, you were the virus. She blinked. I was designed to cause collapse? To bring down enemy systems, spread fear, lead revolts? She stared into the fire. That's why they fear me. He nodded. That's also why they're desperate to get you back. Suddenly the child screamed. They turned. Too late. A dart hit Elias in the neck. He staggered. The girl ran to him. Elias! The child's eyes were wide with tears. I didn't know there was a chip. They activated me. She fell. Unconscious. Elias collapsed, his breathing slowing. They found us, he whispered. His eyes locked with hers. End it. No, she said. You're not dying here. Then run. I'm done running. Her voice sharpened into a whisper. I am Valkyr. She stood slowly, rage rising behind her eyes like a storm. And the hunt? Just turned. Around, it began with silence. Not peace, not rest, the kind of silence that came before war. Where the universe held its breath, Elias lay on the medical table. Inside the moonbase's command room, pale, still breathing, but fading, the wild girl watched him, her hand resting on his chest, not in fear, but in promise. The child hybrid was sedated, the implant neutralized. She would live, but they were not safe. They had never been. Above them, in the cold vacuum of orbit, floated the Echo Wing flagship, sleek, black, alive, its engines whispered. Its guns watched. And at its heart, Dr. Karen Vale, the man who built Valkyrie X-13, and now he wanted her back. In a hidden room on the moonbase, the girl opened a chamber she had sealed long ago, a vault buried deep in memory. Inside, armor, not alien, hers, forged from pain, burned into her bones. The one she had worn when she escaped the first time, red, silver, scarred with the Valkyrie X-13 crest, a broken wing inside a circle of fire. She ran her fingers across it. This time, she whispered, I don't run out of the lab, I burn it down. The plan was simple. Let them come, make them think she's weak, that Elias is dying, that the child was a failed trap. Then strike. From inside. They came at dusk, 10 sleek dropships, silent as ghosts, cutting across the moon sky. She stood in the middle of the canyon, alone, waiting. Unarmed. Unmoving. A show. The first to land wore the same black armor, but their movements were too perfect, clones, programmed. She didn't blink. Then he arrived. The real one, Dr. Karen Vale, older, colder, eyes like frozen glass. He stepped forward slowly. You've grown. You've shrunk, she said flatly. He smiled. I created you, I can unmake you. No, she said. You only made a weapon. And what are you now? She stepped forward. Your reckoning. He raised his hand. Soldiers moved in. Weapons locked. Still, she didn't move. Then, from the sky, the moon base erupted. Explosions in all directions. Her hidden signal worked. Inside, Elias, still weak, but awake, triggered the reactor surge. Chaos. Distraction. Now. The wild girl leapt. Like lightning made flesh. She tore through the soldiers, silent, clean, precise. No mercy, only purpose. Karen screamed, Stop her! He didn't realize until too late she had led them away from the real prize, the child, back inside the base. Elias guided her to an escape pod. This ship has a direct line to Earth Command, he said. You'll tell them everything. The child trembled. What about you? I have one more job, he smiled. Outside, the canyon was now a graveyard. Valkyrie stood in the smoke, breathing heavy. Kara stumbled backward, bleeding, face half burned. You could have ruled the galaxy, he rasped. She walked toward him. I was never born to rule, she said. I was born to remember. To remember what? She stopped. Every scream in your lab, every child you broke, every test you called progress. Then she dropped her final weapon. And still walked forward. No more machines, no more chains, no more monsters like me. He raised his arm. A hidden blade snapped forward, but she was faster. Her hand, bare, scarred, gripped his wrist and crushed it. He screamed. She leaned in close. You don't get to control the ending. Then she turned, walked away. Let him crawl. Let him see the fire spreading from the base. Reactor. Let him feel the fear they taught her to use. Back inside, Elias sat by the core. He had one last wire to pull. Guess I did something good after all, he whispered, then looked at the photo of his daughter. One last time. Smiled. And closed his eyes. The base exploded. Light spread across the moon sky like a second sunrise. From far above, the child's escape pod drifted silently. She watched. The fire below. And beside her, the wild alien girl. No longer Valkyr. No longer a number. Just herself. Alive. There was no music in space. Just silence. And stars. The escape pod floated quietly through the void, guided by old coordinates and broken promises. Inside, 2 survivors sat, one small, one scarred, both once created to serve, now adrift in a galaxy that had no place for either of them. The Child hybrid slept, wrapped in a faded thermal blanket. Her small hands still shook in her dreams. The wild girl watched over her. She had not slept. She didn't need to. Not anymore. A screen blinked. Destination: Earth Alliance Outpost 9. ETA: 6 hours. She didn't care about Earth. Not really, but he had Elias. Mar. The man who had bought her with everything. Not for power, not for control, but for choice. And now he was gone. She took the photo from her pocket. It was cracked. A little girl, smiling under two suns. A blue flower in her hand. Elias's daughter. Her name had been Hope. Now that name meant something else. She looked at the child beside her. "Do you have a name?" she asked softly. The child opened her eyes. "I had a number. G27. "No," the wild girl said. "That's not who you are." The child blinked. "Then who am I?" The girl paused. And whispered, "You're the first seed in a world that doesn't exist yet." The child didn't understand, but she smiled. That was enough. When they arrived, Earth Alliance soldiers surrounded the pod, weapons drawn. Cautious. Afraid. The wild girl stepped out slowly, arms raised. She expected chains. She expected containment, but instead, an officer stepped forward and lowered his rifle. "You're the one from the distress signal?" "Yes," she said. "And the one who destroyed Echo Wing?" "Yes." He studied her. "You don't look like a hero." She met his gaze. "I'm not." They took her in. "Not to a cell?" "To a debrief room, a long table, harsh lights." Dozens of humans asking questions. She answered most. Not all. She gave them the coordinates of the other hidden labs. She gave them names. Files. Codes. Everything Elias had gathered. At the end, a woman, a general, asked the final question. "Why did you help us?" The wild girl looked at her, then slowly took out the photo. "Because someone once believed I could be more than what I was made to be. They cleared her, released her, offered her a new identity, a place to stay." She said nothing, just took the child's hand. And walked away. Months passed. The galaxy whispered about the Valkyr. Some said she died on the moon, some said she became a ghost. A myth, a warning, but in truth, she found a place in the edge systems, a small, quiet planet. No labs, no soldiers, just wind and sky. There she built something simple, a home. A garden, a quiet hill with a stone. On the stone, Elias Mar. He gave a monster a name. The child grew, spoke more, laughed sometimes, and when she asked, "What are we now?" the wild girl would say, "We are free." That's enough. But sometimes, late at night, she would stand alone under the stars. Look up and whisper, "Is it really?" Because freedom came with silence, with memory, with a hole no war could fill, but also with choice. And that was everything.